I said it was going to happen. I never said what it was going to happen, but I had to do a lot of research on this whole merger thing because there's a lot of layers to it, and I wanted to make sure I got all my facts straight before I put this whole video on. And I was waiting on a few things that happened this week too, between if this bill was going to die in committee and if the certain negotiations with EMS. So this video should go pretty quick. I mean, I'm going to break this whole down into little bite-sized chunks so you guys can understand it because at first for me it was very hard to understand. But what you're basically going to get out of this video is that unions are shit and the government sucks at managing money. And this all started with the back in 2017 with their union contracts that were renegotiated with at that time Wayne Township trustee Andy Harris. But this whole talks of this Wayne Township merger started late last year. So they already kind of knew, but they were keeping it underneath the table. And the reason why is because Jeb Barden, who is the current Wayne Township trustee, found out that we are going to be, and when I say we, I mean Wayne Township, is going to be in the hole $7.1 million. And that's because of what's going to be coming up in the next few years. And I will explain it to you right now. So, just to let you know, I posted a video. Maybe some of my YouTube followers, my loyal and lovely YouTube followers, thank you very much. I posted a video about the Wayne Township Advisory Board back in January 11th, and that was the very first talk about the merger, and that had public comment. It gave the rundown of how we got here and why we got here. And then after that, which there are no videos of it, there was a meeting at Drexel Gardens from Ramona Ward and at the Mars Hill Art Center from John and Lisa Schmitz, who run that. And it was all talking about the Wayne Township merger and how we got here, what we need to expect, what the things are going down the pipe. So one of the things that were talked about was the EMS merger. And today is February 2nd, 2024. And last week, at a 4-1 vote, it was approved to start having the conversation of merging just EMS, not the fire department. The fire department talks and the public comment is this month, February 22nd. And I can guarantee you it's going to be fireworks. Yours truly will be speaking too. And then another thing they talked about was Senate Bill 54, and it had to do with the consolidation of the township fire departments merging with IFD to the point where the trustee had no say in it. It was going to be if the mayor said, "Hey, I want Decatur and Pike and Wayne Township because that's really the only ones that are left in Indianapolis. I want them to merge with IFD. The township trustee and the people would have no say to it. It would have to get approved by city council, and then they would start the negotiations with the merger. That bill got killed today, actually. It never made it out of committee, so we're fine on that. We have a little bit of time on that. The EMS stuff, I mean, I knew it from the beginning. I said it a few weeks ago. Like I knew this whole thing. I knew that merger was going to happen. We didn't. That was easy. That cut the debt right in half. Now we got something to work with. We got a little bit of time. So, like I said before, this whole thing started back in 2017 with then trustee Andy Harris and with the renegotiation of the firefighters contract and I'm guessing EMS contract. And part of that was this retirement health insurance fund. So how this thing works is that the employee will contribute $30 while the township contributes 60. So and the big problem with that is that in the next few years 45% of the firefighters are going to retire, which means they will be taking out of this fund. Now, what's in this fund? Well, once they retire at 52, that's right, I said 52. Pretty crazy, right? Once they start pulling money out at 52, if they're eligible, they can pull out from the age 53 to 65, $12,000 a year. And that's a reimbursement for eligible medical expenses, including the purchase of health insurance, which is administered through a third party company. That was straight from the communications director, Jeff Harris. And makes sense. I don't have any reason not to believe him. Jeff has been a real good guy to me, has always replied back to my emails. One of the best people ever about replying back to me. He's a trusted guy. So to me, I thought it was like, well, I don't even know how they thought this whole idea was sustainable. Like, how is this going to work in the long term? Because we were going to be constantly losing money, and contracts get renegotiated. I think like every year or every other year, however often it is. And with inflation right now, I don't see how that would work because the firefighters get a lot of perks, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. So he thought the same thing, but he doesn't have any of the models. He doesn't have any of the paperwork of where it was at 2017. One of the things that Jeb talked about during this meeting was Rolls-Royce. They left, and then another company left. I'm not exactly sure. I couldn't make it out what exact company he said. So now you have all these businesses that are leaving, and you have this airport TIF. And so how a TIF works is that whatever TIF area um, is approved, their property tax is locked in at that rate. And once they start, their property tax money will only go a little bit to the city, and then the rest of it will go into a TIF fund. And that TIF fund is a fund for like fixing up sidewalks, building trails, but only in that TIF district, while everybody else's property taxes go up. Not not that they raise taxes, but they go up because now you're developing this area and now your property is worth more. So that entity, whatever it was, a Walmart, an airport, whatever their property taxes were locked up at, which is built off of an algorithm or an equation, your property tax is going off. That's why I hate TIFs. But that TIF money is not going to the fire department now. Even to the point where like Pike Township, they get $1 million for equipment. Wayne Township only gets $750,000. And the reason why is because Pike Township has all of Pike Township. Wayne Township also doesn't have all of the Wayne Township Fire District. IFD is also in there. And Speedway, they have their own entity in fire department and EMS. So Wayne Township is really getting like the shit end of the stick, but it is what it is. You can't really do anything about it. So as you can see here, things were going really well. It is, we have good revenue. It is kind of interesting. Like, if you look at this path, it's kind of weird. Hey, hey, just saying. I don't know. But things were going well. Even when I talked to Randy Swindle, he was running for Wayne Township trustee, and he told me, he's like, I had like $15,000 and a separate fund as like in a piggy bank, and we were doing just fine. Then all of a sudden, Jeb gets taken over, and they have all these problems. And I'm talking, so well, what can we do? And he's like, but he couldn't give me an exact straight answer of what was going on. But you could see here on the bar graph, things were going great. They're doing amazing. Profit was huge. And then 2018, 2019, everything just started not so good. And if we start looking in towards the future, our ending operating balance is not going to be good. So, this retiree health insurance fund, this puts us in a $7.1 million hole. Now, about half of that is from EMS, and then the other half is from the fire department. And so you're probably wondering, well, what are we spending our money on that we got ourselves in such a pickle? Well, personal services are 88%. And I will tell you right now that 88% is because of union contracts. And then you can see, there's some money, but not as much as 88%. A little bit other capital outlays, whatever that is, some supplies, whatever that might be, and equipment, building outlay, whatever that is. But we're looking at the big blue number right now. What are personal services? Well, we got a little bit of salary, and wages, stack pay, longevity pay. Depending how long you've been here, you get more money, which, is pretty good. Perfect attendance. That's right. You will get a bonus if you have perfect attendance. So you get more money if you come to work. Weird, right? A gym reimbursement, clothing allowance. So what are the other things in that personal? Perf is Public Employees Retirement Fund. It's a 401a benefit retirement plan established by the state of Indiana to provide retirement, disability, and survivor benefits for its participants. And it went up 1% this year, state mandated. So that's only getting way more money. Health insurance, which, and he talks about that health insurance costs $33,000 a year, but then in another slide, it's more like 40. So it's still a lot, no matter what. Social Security, unemployment, workers' comp, RHIF, which is that retirement fund, the 457 plan, which is a retirement plan, and then the PEHP, which is the Public Employee Health Program, and they can take that with them anywhere. So if they were to leave Wayne Township Fire Department and go to another fire department, that's theirs. But we pay into it, of course. So, as you can see here, 2023, the beginning balance, and then the revenue and expenditures and the excessive revenue over expenditures, we were in that hole $2.5 million. And the reason why is because Wayne Township schools had a debt and they renegotiated that debt. Well, it was $2.5 million and they had to take that money out of the Wayne Township money and kind of, I guess they weren't expecting it or something happened and now they have less money, which is why our ending balance is $5.2 million. You look at 2024, our beginning balance is 5.2. Our revenue is 34. Expenditures are 34. Excess of revenue, $318,000 left. Ending operating balance for $5.5 million. So our revenue for 24 is $34 million. Our fire budget is $34 million. So our fire budget would eat up all of that. And we still have other things that have to be paid for. So, what does what does an employee cost in 2024? And I do want to tell you too, like part of the thing that's killing the budget is the overtime. It's actually cheaper to raise the pay than it is to pay overtime. It's cheaper to hire somebody than it is to have overtime. And right now they don't have enough people in the fire department and they're paying all this overtime. So you don't have to worry about paramedic. I mean, if you want to go ahead and look at it, but it really doesn't matter. Salary 80,000, stack pay 3,000, longevity pay 10,000. These are all in the union contracts. Clothing allowance, perfect attendance $1,100, $1,100 bonus for having a perfect attendance. Clothing allowance, gym reimbursement, that perf, which is the Public Employee Retirement Fund, 21,000. Their health insurance, like I said before, originally he said 33,000, but in here it shows 45,000. So I'm not sure if there's extra things that are added in there, like life insurance. Maybe there's health insurance and then life insurance on top of that. Then FICA, works comp, RHIF, blah 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 blah. And then stack pay. Those are certifications. Those are certifications paid by paid by the taxpayer, and so they're getting paid to get the certifications by the taxpayer, and the taxpayer is also funding the way to get the certification. Just want to make sure everybody realizes how much money you are spending on one firefighter. And sure, they're heroes and whatnot, but I think it's a lot. Maybe it's just me because firefighters where I used to grow up, they were all volunteer. And then, but same thing with Indianapolis, same thing with Wayne Township. At one point, they were all volunteer firefighters. Each township actually had only volunteer firefighters. It is a newer thing for them to be full time. and union contracts suck. They bleed us dry. These kind of union contracts are the things that put our budget in the state, in the city, in the county, in the township. It completely fucks us over. So whenever they talk about that we don't have enough money for all this is why. This is also another reason why people don't get paid more in these unions. Same thing with teachers. I mean, right now we have a superintendent in Wayne Township that's being paid $300,000. That's right, folks, $300,000. And I don't know what the average teacher in Wayne Township is getting paid, but I know it's not that. So, with that being said, we're moving on. All right, so with our ending operating balance, at this point, we in 2021 we got the federal SAFER grant, which is the Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response, and that was Fed money from FEMA. And basically, because we have all these firefighters that are aging out, this helps out hire new younger firefighters to replace them when those other firefighters are retiring. So I merged the EMS division. This is also kind of important because even though I said that the EMS thing doesn't really matter, it does matter in the big scheme of things because he talks about the tax rate. And you can see on here right now the Wayne Township Fire District tax rate is 76 cents per $100 assessed value on your property taxes. Your health and hospital tax is 18 cents per $100 of assessed value. So total, it's 94 cents per $100 of assessed value. Now, you're probably wondering, what is the health and hospital tax? Well, let me tell you. Whenever there's someone that doesn't have insurance, that's what funds the hospitals. That's what funds the health help. So if someone doesn't have health insurance and they have to go in an emergency room to the hospital, Wayne Township is not going to go look after them or go after them. They say, hey, hey, pay us money, money. They're not going to do that. So to make up for it, that's what this tax is for. Now think about all the illegals that are entering this country. Our hospitals being overrun, our hospitals not having the amount of money that we need. And I'll give you an example right here because Wayne Township, I have the numbers for Wayne Township. So the ambulance service, the EMS, is $6 to $7 million. Out of that, we will get $3.5 to $4 million and 40% will be from Medicaid, and even the private health insurance companies, they're doing the same thing. They are mirroring that plan because it's actually cheaper for them to do it that way. Hey, guess what, folks? Money is the name of the game. Don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at the hospitals. Get mad at the insurance companies because they're the ones making all this motherfucking money. So now they're saying, well, now we're only overall, if you take the health and hospital tax rate and you take the IFD tax rate, you're only paying 51 cents per $100 of assessed value. And you're probably thinking to yourself, "Oh my god, I'm going to pay less taxes? Oh, amazing. Sign me up." Wrong. No, no, no. You're still going to be getting taxed that, but that rate will go to IFD. It'll go to the health and hospitals. Um, but then the extra amount of that money, that 43 cents extra per $100 assessed value, you're not getting that back. That's going somewhere else. Probably the schools, if I had to guess. Yeah, that $300,000 a year superintendent. Yeah, he's probably going to get a bonus off for that. I don't think the teacher is going to get any money. I think it's going to go to the principals. It'll go into the upper administration, but good chance it's not going to the teachers. It'll go to the schools because right now the schools are being overrun by non-English speakers, and they're going to need that extra money to hire people to teach them English or have some kind of translator. Hey, you're the guys that voted for this crap. I hate to break it to you. I didn't vote for this. I didn't want this. I wanted the teachers to get paid more. I didn't want a translator. I didn't want the schools to have to hire a translator because Paco doesn't know English because we have illegals crossing the border and all they know is Creole and not English. What do you want me to do? Hey, I don't know what you want me to do. I'm just giving you the facts right now, and I'm telling you what the future of Wayne Township, if not this whole country, is going to look like here in a few years. I want you to know where this tax money is going to be going to because it's not going back to your pocket. The whole reason why I bring this fire tax rate marketing up is because not all of Wayne Township tax money goes to the Wayne Township Fire Department. There are pockets in Wayne Township that do not have the Wayne Township Fire District. For example, my little pocket that I live in the Wayne Township Fire District. So my tax money will go to the Wayne Township Fire Department. Other parts of Wayne Township that does not live in that fire district, they live in the Indianapolis Fire Department district. So their tax money will go to the Indianapolis Fire Department. And the reason why I bring that up is because Wayne Township cannot raise taxes for the fire department. It's a state mandate. They can't levy, they can't have a referendum or anything like that. Explain it? Explain it? Got it? Got it? Got it? Good. Or their own township. We're just talking about Wayne Township. Like Pike Township, they are fine. Decatur Township, they're fine. They'll be fine forever. So like I said before, $1.9 million for Pike Township in equipment replacement and only $800,000. I think I said $700,000 before, but it's $800,000 for Wayne Township, and the reason why the airport TIF and the and Speedway. So overall, we're $7 million short. We were $7 million short. Now we're only like three and a half, $3 to $4 million short. And why? Because of pensions, because of the retiree health fund, because of the perf, and because you have to buy new equipment. In that video, Jeb talks about how they had to replace a couple of AC units on top of the government center. Some of these heat exchangers were cracked. And I don't know if you've ever seen a heat exchanger set on fire, but it's like something out of Backdraft. It's pretty amazing to watch, as long as I'm not there. So, like fire trucks, ambulances, the equipment, the training, the certifications, and just to give you a good idea of the problems that were happening, especially before the COVID BS. Um, right now, Wayne Township bought a fire truck that is $750,000. Pre-COVID, it was $500,000. So these union contracts can't keep up with inflation. The schools cannot keep up with inflation. And they're just not bringing in enough money. If you don't have the businesses in Wayne Township, uh, then you can't really do a whole lot with what you got. There's just not enough money going in. But let's talk. So SB 54, I'm going to put a link in the description on the testimony during when that bill got introduced in the committee. A lot of people testified. People from Wayne Township, Pike Township, Decatur. You had a city councilor in there. You had the uh, Decatur trustee. You had Ramona Ward in there. John Schmitz was in there. Senator Mike Young, who lives in Wayne Township, even though he's not in the fire district, man, that guy is a killer. I would suggest you watch that stream, the recorded stream, just because of Mike Young. That guy is awesome. He will go to bat for you. At first I was a Philip Clay guy, but now I'm like, you know what? Mike Young's pretty all right. He's going to get my vote. But they didn't want this bill to pass because they want to be in charge of their own township. This is what I love about local politics. People want to be in charge of their own fire department, their own EMS. Like those are the things that keep us safe. If there's a problem, we know that in our township, our little area, they can get to us faster than say IFD. And I know that if you watched the video, the advisory board video, I think Chief Stewart talks about is like, no, they're just go off of the whoever's closest. But where's the oversight? Because that's one thing that they don't talk about as much as I think they should. If this merger happens, there's no more oversight from the Wayne Township Advisory Board. It's all done through IFD, which, in my opinion, is not good because you need local people controlling those local major institutions, that local safety, which I don't think I was even around when IMPD and the sheriff's department got together when they got consolidated. I think that was a terrible idea. I think you need to have separate entities and you need to have oversight over those little entities. I think it's much more efficient. Maybe it's just me. Maybe that's just my own opinion, but I think that is the way to go instead of having this giant monopoly of power and these bureaucrats that are who have their own agendas and saying, "Oh no, you're doing a good job. You're fine. We're going to keep this going." So, I'll have that description or I'll have that link in the description below. And right now, EMS is having their talks. I don't know when that whole thing is going to be done, but that I mean, just put that one in the bag. I will tell you though, at the Mars Hill meeting, people are asking about the fire chief, and I've had my own questions about him because I was like, this guy seems kind of slimy. I'm not a big fan of him. There was one comment that he made to Ramona Ward that really pissed me off because Ramona Ward was asking a legitimate question about lights on an ambulance, and the fire chief just was like in a snarky tone, is like, well, heroes aren't cheap. And I was sitting in there, it's like, that's not what she was asking, man. This has nothing to do with the EMS or firefighters. It has to do with the ambulances. But Jeb Barden went to bat from, and he was talking about how, he's doing multiple roles, and it's saving us like $400,000 a year, which, my question was like, well, if we're saving $500,000 a year, why can't we make this up? Jessica McCormick was at the advisory board, and she was in support of the EMS merger. And you want to know why? You want to know why? You want to know why some of these counselors, state reps, and senators do not go to any of these meetings? They haven't said anything about the merger so far. It's because they got money from the firefighters union. That's right. $500 for each of them. That's all it costs for their soul. That's all it costs for their loyalty. And they'll just betray the town that they're from, the area that they're from. Most of these people are from Wayne Township. They live in Wayne Township. Allegedly, Jared Evans is some kind of football hero, but he lives with his parents, so fuck him. And I think that they're compromised. They're 100% compromised. But I personally think that we can get through this. We, as in Wayne Township, we, as in Jeb Barden, can figure something out because we have time until 2025, but these contracts have to start. They did not get a raise this year. The firefighters didn't get a raise, and their contracts are due. So this money will actually be more. But I don't know. For me, I think there's a way. If there's a will, there's a way. There's you could probably take a loan out, which I guess a lot of townships do because they'll take the loan out and then they'll get the money later in the year because everything is up front. They front load all that cash to pay for whatever it is, and then they'll get the money back in like the spring for property tax from the state. And then they'll just, pay off the loan, put the money in their piggy bank or whatever. And, there's that. But my whole theory uh, is that the unions are running the show. They want to have this merger done, and I don't like it. On February 22nd, I'm going to talk about it. That just little portion. I actually have a few talking points. You'll have 3 minutes to say your piece, and then you got to move on. But I will be speaking there. I am not a big fan of this whole thing. I don't want the merger. I don't know how much clearer I can make that, but we'll see what happens. We got 3 weeks until the Wayne Township Advisory Board meeting, which is going to be lit. A lot of people are going to be speaking, and it's going to be awesome. And if you go back and watch that testimony at the Senate bill, the only people that were in favor of that bill were the unions, literally. Everybody else. Decatur, Pike, even Pike. Pike is Democrat run. So this isn't like a party thing. Carlos Perkins, who was on the city councilor, he talked about it. I think it was at the last meeting. And I was actually, I brought this up during the video too, was like Carlos Perkins was telling the IFD chief, he's like, hey, we like our fire department. Do not take it. It's ours. Not so eloquently as I've put it, but much nicer. So we know that the majority of people do not want this to happen. Were a few people at that Wayne Township Advisory Board that were like, "Oh no, I totally think this merger should work." One lady, if you go back to the last one from like last week, one lady was like, "Oh, I want my tax money back." It's like, lady, I don't think you understand how this whole thing works. You're not getting that money back. It's going to somewhere else. You're crazy. I like, you know what? It's good for some people to be naive and thinking that the government actually gives a shit about them. But the reality is they don't. They just want to bleed you dry. They want to bring in the next pig, stick them in the throat, bleed them dry. Next. Just a carousel of stuck pigs. Gimme, gimme, gimme that blood money. So that's all I got for you. I'm hoping that this explained things really well. If you have any questions, Wayne Township does have a questionnaire on the homepage of their website. Jeff Harris is really good about answering back. If you have any questions, I can always answer them too. Put it down in the comment section or you can email me. That's all I got.